Blackburn Rovers ended the calendar year just like they ended last calendar year with a defeat against Huddersfield at their place. We'll tell you all about that and more next. Once again with another match review, this time picking apart Blackburn Rovers' final game of 2020, and it's a shocker, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, stop what you're doing, swallow what you're doing, and of course, smash your subscribe button and bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, championship related. Whoa, football related, we're going to do here. Outside in the bloody wilderness. That's right, of course, Rovers doing what they do best over Christmas, over the festive period, and that is losing bloody games, of course. We've had an absolute nightmare festive period, to be honest with you, and not really got anything out of it that I can really say has been a positive result. There's been a couple of draws here, of course, the lastminute.com win against Rotherham, but today was a day for us to end this, of course, dreaded year for many reasons on a high, but unfortunately Mowbray and his boys got it wrong. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Of course, one big shout, of course, to the 24 patrons. That's right, we're just one shy now, of course, of the goal. 25 patrons. If you are interested, make sure you check out the link down below, patreon.com/Roverseas. But yes, it was just 12 months ago when we took on Huddersfield at their own place last time around, last season, and it ended up 2-1. And guess what, folks? It's a bit of a deja vu, that's right, as Rovers ended this campaign with a 2-1 defeat to Huddersfield, of course. Of course, it was not meant to be. And guess what? And a lot of Rovers fans are biting their bottom lip now and thinking that this could be the result that they've had enough. They've had a bloody enough. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Of course, we'll take a look at the fan input, of course. But yes, 2-1 was the final score in the end. Naby Sarr with both goals for Huddersfield. One, a decent header from a set piece, which we were absolutely lacklustre with defending. Rovers actually got themselves back into it 4 minutes from time, 86 minutes from Sam Gallagher, substitute, of course, giving us a bit of hope that maybe, just maybe, we can get something out of this game, not just a point, but maybe even all three. But Naby Sarr came back into it, and the 90th minute to get the 3 points with a good effort, of course. And he's a centre-back, lads. He's a centre-back that we were tracking, of course, once Charlton got relegated. He was one of the options, one of the centre-backs, alongside Kipre and all that. And we ended up with Daniel Ayala at the end, a free transfer, which on paper is a good bit of business. But guess what, folks? Paul's up injured today, and who knows when he'll be back. He's been like that all season, a bit of a limp biscuit, you know what I mean? He's there 1 week, gone the next. So I don't know what to expect from him moving forward. I don't know really what to expect from Rovers moving forward, as this is just another chapter of a really dismal run of results, which started, I think, from the result against Millwall, which was a 2-1 win. We had two back-to-back stodgy games, stodgy wins, Millwall and Barnsley, where we didn't really play well, but we nicked a result. And then after that, it's just been defeats, scrappy little draws, lastminute.com winner against Rotherham. It's just been, I don't know, very, very fluky. I think the word is fluky. Fluky's the results. We see a lot on the ball, and we'll see that again possession-wise, which I think, in fact, this result here, we actually were the second best with possession. Of course, and Huddersfield are up there, and of course, on their own turf, they're going to be a bit more likely to be in charge of the game. But it's just been a stepladder of shit. That's what I can say. A bit by bit by bit, garbage. Not really getting anything out of it. But of course, the last chance saloon, people are saying, of course, is the return of the key superstars, the Dacarino, the Breretons, the Travis. Can they turn the season around? But to be honest with you, I don't really know. And my underlying factor, it still is, and it's been a while since it's been made apparent, the contract situation with our key personnel. I think moving into the January, into 2021, our key bit of business by Waggett and the boys upstairs is signing these guys down, the Nyambis, your Bradley Johnsons, perhaps, your Joe Rothwells. Get these guys who are probably valued around about £6, £7, £8 million a piece. When I'm talking about Rothwell, your Nyambis, key personnel that have got a bit of money to their name. We don't want to let them walk out the door for absolutely nothing at the end of the season. So that's administration stuff, and that needs to be taken care of as alongside as maybe potentially. I don't know where people are standing, the managerial situation. But anyway, let's take more of the stats here. Of course, Rovers did have more shots than their hosts, of course, 16 to 15, but Huddersfield did have more on target, 7 to 4, and 2 of those in the back of the net. Possession-wise, Huddersfield were in charge, 51% of possession for them, 49 for Rovers. They also had more passes than we did. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Their pass accuracy was also better than ours, 81% to our 79%. 99. And yeah, we actually got a couple of yellow cards as well to their 3. And to be honest with you, I would have said a draw would have been a fair result. But yeah, as clueless as we are defensively, it was wide bloody open. Let's take a look at some of the other area of information here. Donahue was the man in charge, of course, pulling the whistle, blowing the whistle every 2 seconds, of course. But yeah, pass success rate was in favour of Huddersfield. And again, the winless run or the shitty run continues for Blackburn Rovers. This is how they were laid out formation-wise. I think it was more of a 4-3-3, to be honest with you. But they got a 4-4-2. Bakuna was a pain in the butt. We'll take a look at the starting lineups in just a second. But ultimately, it was just too little, too late for Rovers. Here are those starting lineups, first and foremost, for the hosts. Schofield between sticks. Young goalkeeper made a really good save from Adam Armstrong, which could have given Rovers the lead. Toffolo on the left-hand side caused all kinds of problems. Pipper on the right, causing all kinds of problems on the right-hand side. Young Edmonds Green, of course, time-wasting machine, they call him, the back end of that game. Of course, Sarr was the difference maker today. O'Brien, Hogg and Etting, of course, young Dutch midfielder on loan from Ajax, a bit of a worldy future anyway. Bakuna causing all kinds of problems. Campbell, of course, pain in the ass, and then Penza up top. Meanwhile, Rovers started the match like this. Kaminsky, Bell, Lenihan, Ayala and Nyambe. Tribal did start, but was replaced quickly doors by Lewis Holtby, Rothwell and Johnson. Elliott, Armstrong and Brereton up top. Now, of course, like I said, Tribal was replaced early doors. Ayala was replaced as well. Johnson had to come back. Nyambe also was pulled off. So a lot of, I don't know if they were the back. Well, I know Ayala and Tribal were injuries. I don't know what the deal was with Nyambe was, but he wasn't getting much joy down the right hand side. Let's take a look at my match ratings before I rip this team apart. Kaminsky with a 5, Bell with a 5, Lennon also had a 6. I'm giving him a bit of a Brucey bonus because he did look decent in parts. Ayala with a 5 as well, looked ropey. Nyambe with a 6 and harsh. I never really given below 7s. Tribal with a 4. He was on the pitch for like 2 seconds. Rothwell with a 5. Didn't really get any ball to him just to drive him forward. Johnson with a 5. Elliott with a 5 as well. Thought he was shite today. Armstrong with a 6. He had a good couple of chances in Brereton. Good to see him back, but he was absolutely shite. The key ingredients are in this team. You know, when you look at this team, Kaminsky is, of course, our number 1. Lenihan is our number 1 starting centre-back, and he's been shit quite recently as well. Probably the last 10 games, I don't think I've seen too much of him. Nyambe's been, of course, solid. Probably a below par performance for him today. Bell not convinced. Ayala not convinced either, even though they call them the Royals. Which on occasion he can look good, but you can't be Mr. Sick Note if you want to be a centre-back pairing alongside Lenihan. So that needs to be addressed. Whether it is some sort of square peg and round hole and make Bradley Johnson your centre-back, or go out and get someone else to fill in that void, because right now he's out, Williams is out, Wharton's out, and I would not like to go forward to the rest of the season into 2021 with Bradley Johnson as our centre-back pairing alongside Darren Lennon. Of course, I like Bradley Johnson. I think he's a big boss man midfielder, and that is what he is. He's no centre-back. He's a big boss man midfielder, defensive midfielder, does the job while Travis is away. But then once Travis is back, Johnson is on the pitch, on the substitutes bench, waiting to come on. Into midfield, Tribal again didn't really get going. I was looking forward to seeing him back, but it was a defensive-looking trio there with him and Johnson. Not really adventurous. Holtby comes on, and he's not been the same since he's bloody got his haircut. I know that's a bit of fun, really, but he hasn't. He has not been the same in the past 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So I don't know what's going on. Will the true Lewis Holtby please bloody stand up? Rothwell again didn't really get the ball to his feet, and he tried to make a couple of runs, but they really got cancelled out. Elliott had probably his worst game in a Rovers jersey. Armstrong had a couple of efforts, and they should have gone in the back of the net, and Brereton was good. And I think he made a really good pass for Adam Armstrong to put the ball in the back of the net, but unfortunately that was all she wrote from Vamos. Brereton, not good enough. As you can see here, of course, touches-wise, 627 to our 598. Passes-wise, 463 to our 449. As you can see the shot grid here, we are blue, they are orange. Yeah, Dak did come on to little to no effect. Didn't really see him get involved in anything. Downing was a bit more creative. And again, set pieces was another shit show example of what we're not to do with set pieces, whereas Huddersfield showed you what to do. Of course, the manager, Carlos Corbrian, as a former Bielsa boy, trying to drive Huddersfield up the table. They've been written off for the first part of the season, but they're climbing up the table slowly but surely as Rovers are drifting further down. Let's take a look at the heat maps. If you're a heat map man just like me, here they go. As you can see, Huddersfield did have a lot of the ball, a lot of green, a lot of coverage throughout the 90 minutes. Rovers did have a lot of possession as well, but ultimately not good enough. If they did have a lot of possession, it was in the defensive third, as you can see with that orange patch, with Lennon probably had more touches than anybody else, I suspect, at the back. But ultimately, it is too little, too late. And that's pretty much just a sample of what I've got to say. We'll take a little bit more about me in just a second. Well, kicking off, let's take a look at what else went on the Championship this week, midweek, of course. Birmingham did lose to Derby 4-0, spanking Derby, starting to climb the table at long last. Birmingham could be about to lose their manager, and that would be just at the right time for them to have a new manager bounce, of course, up against Rovers. Sheffield Wednesday, of course, Pulis no longer there, but they've got someone else maybe lined up. I don't know. 2-1 win over Middlesbrough. That's a new manager bounce there as well. Norwich could only muster a draw against QPR. That's a bit of a banana skin there. Luton Town did beat Bristol City again, causing all kinds of problems in the top 6. Barnsley continued to win as well, to climb the table as well. 2-1 winners over Rotherham. Preston 2-0 winners over Coventry at Deepdale. Wickham, surprise, 2-1 winners over Cardiff. Stoke and Forest drew out to 1-1. And of course, tomorrow we'll have Brentford against Bournemouth and Swansea up against Reading. Let's take a look at the table as it stands. Rovers still, believe it or not, 6 points off the top 6. That might be it. That might be wrong, actually. It's 7 points off the top 6 at the moment. Cardiff also struggling. Huddersfield up to 12th now, as you can see. But Norwich leading the charge, 5 points clear over Swansea, who closed the gap to just 2 points. Bournemouth also in contention, as are Brentford, Watford and Reading also in the top 6. At the foot of the table, Wickham, Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday going down as it stands. Derby making the push as well. What's going on next week or heading into New Year's Day? Of course, Sheffield Wednesday take on Derby on New Year's Day. That's on Friday night, early kick-off for that, 12:30 on the day. Then into Saturday, we have a whole host of fixtures. We've got Luton Town against QPR, Preston against Nottingham Forest, Wickham against Middlesbrough, Millwall against Coventry, Huddersfield to take on Reading. Of course, Reading have got top 6 aspirations. Huddersfield may even have that as well. Birmingham against Blackburn Rovers in the Battle of the Bees. I may have a watch-along for that. We'll have to wait and see. Rotherham against Cardiff, Brentford against Bristol City, Swansea against Watford, Norwich against Barnsley, and the late kick-off on Saturday will be Stoke up against Bournemouth indeed. Pretty much all I've got to say. What about Tony Mowbray? What does he have to say about the match and that shit show? And of course, the end of the calendar year.
Listen, I'm not saying this happens every week, but to lose tight games happens every week at the moment, it feels. It's just the nature of the goals we lost today. I thought it was a good game of football, to be honest. I thought it was 2 decent teams. I think they're a good team. They're well coached. They've got patterns of play and they can give you problems. I thought we coped with them pretty well for most of the game. We had some amazing chances to score that for some reason aren't going in at this moment in time. I think probably some snatching at 1 or 2 chances, and then their keeper made an amazing save. It's no, we should have been in front first half. Even first minute we should have been in front. But yeah, it feels as if it's the way it's going at the moment, and to get back to 1-1 so late, there's no way you're going to lose the game from that point. If anything, you were going to go on and win it, but lack of concentration, and again, you'd have to say we had Buckley. By this time we had Buckley playing right back and Johnson playing centre half. I think it was actually a striker who left the centre half just running and score, to be honest. It's very, very frustrating. Lack of concentration, not doing his job, and yeah, difficult to take, but there you go, we have to. It's done now. The scores in the history books. That's it. The first goals, from our perspective, you've got to say it's a joke, really. Everyone's got jobs. We spend a lot of time on set plays the day before games. We go through it. We show them videos. We show them their strengths and their weaknesses, and how this team actually got a lot of clever corner patterns. That they play short corners and third men runs and stuff like that, and yet that's just a cross in the box, and the boy heads it in the 6-yard box, where we should have 2 men on the zonal space on the 6-yard box, our 2 biggest players, and a man marking him, and yet he gets a free head and just heads it in. So yeah, I don't think there's much about the team other than individuals didn't do the job, I would have to say, and it's really frustrating. And as I've just said to them there, if it's the same people every week, they won't be playing in this team, because you have to do your jobs, you have to work hard, and they do work hard, but you can't be the guy who costs us a goal every week for not doing your job. Yeah, listen, that's just common sense, isn't it? I think we deserved not to lose that game. I think a 1-1 probably would have been fair, because as I said, they're a decent team, a good football team, well coached, and I think a draw was probably about fair results, but to lose it is very disappointing. Listen, we aren't intending to do that. We should have been in front in the first minute or 2. I don't know how long it was. What a chance that was. But yeah, you're stating the obvious. It's not something we're trying to do. It's lacks of concentration. The goal the other day against Sheffield Wednesday, it's like Keystone Cops at the back. The games are coming next 2 days. We haven't done the work. We can't get on the training ground with a back 4 that and you see tonight, Nyambi comes off injured, Ayala comes off injured. When are we going to do the work before the next game? It's and yet I understand the job, and I've just said to them there, I understand the job. I try to build this team and give them a mentality that we minimum have to get to the playoffs this year. And if we don't, I don't see it as any level of any sort of success. It's a failure, and yeah, listen, that's where I feel I am at the moment. This team has to find consistency, a way of winning games, and it's got a soft underbelly at this moment. The quicker, I'm not saying Travis is the answer, but Travis brings some fire and he brings some gumption to a team that doesn't want to lose, that will not accept defeat, and to the point he'd kick his granny to make sure he wins. And I think that's what this group are missing. They're a talented group, a group that are okay with the ball, can create chances, can score goals. I showed them before the game that we've scored the most goals equal in this league. We've had the most shots on target of any team in this league. Our expected goals is top in the division, and yet there's a bit of a soft underbelly, as we found again tonight. And the sooner that Lewis gets back, I'm not saying he's the answer and he's a one-man team, he just gives us a bit that we're missing at the moment, I think. Maybe a week. I don't think Saturday. I think he needs to play in a game for the 23s, but he won't be far away now. Listen, we're not the only team in the country. I think a lot of teams are finding it. We're playing so regularly now. The demands are so high on professional football. The intensity of the game has increased tenfold over the years. You're trying to balance working on the grass with your team, trying to improve the team, improve the players, and yet you have a next game coming and players get injured and then they're out, and then you're playing with a new back four, or you're playing with a new midfield, or you're trying to put somebody into your team shape, and I don't want them to. Everybody's a part of it. I keep saying to the lads who are on the fringe, you have to be ready, and they do have to be ready. So whoever's injured, someone will get a chance. They have to step in and do the job, and try and everybody be talking about them because they do the job that well. They're all important. This is no more important than tonight was, in my opinion. This one's gone now though, but Birmingham, I didn't see the final score, but they looked to me like they were taking a real hiding, and so there'll be a reaction from them at the weekend. We have to be ready for their reaction, and let's wait and see. We'll go there and try and win like we came here to try and win, but we didn't manage it because of the reasons I've given you.
A little bit more I have to say. What about the fans on the old social media? Let's take a little look then, shall we? Lewis Hartley, he said this utterly ridiculous what is going on at the moment. The team clearly doesn't want to play for Mowbray, given the shy performances week in, week out. Buckley looks like a kid who has won a Make-A-Wish competition. I'm losing the will to live watching Rovers now. Enough is enough. Talk of Ewood says, another disappointing display after a very, very poor December. Put ourselves in a really promising position come the end of November, and then let ourselves down. Not being clinical enough, and even then, we were nowhere near good enough tonight. Something needs to change. Meanwhile, Chris Martin said this: I like Mowbray, he's done a lot for the club, and I'd like to think this bad of form can be sorted out. But I think it's fair to expect better from this team, especially with the very good transfer window we had indeed. Mike Delap said this: other thought I took from this is when you scabbed a decent goal near the end for a 1-1 and the game has been wide open, then kill it dead. Just take the point and move on. Just like Mowbray says, put the point in the bag and move on, not go for it. Meanwhile, Luke E.H., aka Luke One Edwards, said, don't care what anyone says. This is not Blackburn Rovers. Get Billich in, he says. Meanwhile, Jordan Kingsley, we're absolutely horrendous. All for giving kids a chance, but Buckley offers the team absolutely nothing. Weak as anything and gives the ball away non-stop. We have been horrific for weeks now. The results are reflecting the performances. Meanwhile, Carl Wicks, the better team won today. Huddersfield didn't time waste even when they went in front, so fair play to them. They did a bit of time wasting at the end with Edmondson taking it to the ground. We had our chances, they took theirs. Sarr was class once again, let in 2 sloppy goals. Bell looked good, great to have the Dak and Big Ben back. Was theirs, and Galley's goal offside? I don't know. Adam Taltuki said this: alarming how we seem to be getting worse as the season goes on. With our squad, this isn't good enough. I admire Tony Mowbray's attempts to improve our style, but we simply haven't addressed our Achilles heel, the defence. We can't have aspirations of top 6 defending as we do simple as that. Meanwhile, Bradley Sturton said this: embarrassing, same every season. We have a brilliant run, then nothing, and bottling any chances. We've got an ex-defender who played at higher levels but can't manage the defence. We are close to the side that got relegated from the Championship, he said. Kalitamus said this: we've been really poor for about 6 straight matches now. It's embarrassing. With the squad we have, we shouldn't be struggling like this. Something needs to change. Modest 23 said, I haven't yet to call for Tony said he's done a good job at getting Rovers back to the Championship, but it's not working out now. No chance of players. Maybe it's time to move forward. Another one there. Mark Howard said it's not going anywhere when you defend like that. No clean sheets since Middlesbrough, which was 8 or 9 matches ago, which we were shite as well, by the way. Just waiting for today's excuse, which, to be honest with you, I'm getting sick of hearing. Andrew G said, I appreciate how Tony Mowbray steadied the ship and brought stability back to the club, but enough is enough. He will never take us any further forward. Thanks for your efforts, Tony, but you need to go now. That's them, not me. Liam, the Hotton, said this, Mowbray just looks lost. Every time the camera cuts to him, he looks like he's bored, no passion, or putting his fingers down his ears. As good as he's been for us, he can't take us any further. Time for a change. And John MC said this, it's been the same last 3 seasons. Great November, and we shit the bed every December, every Christmas period. Get within a point of 6, and we shit the bed again. It's bloody boring, he bloody says. And that's pretty much all I've got for you today, folks. That's the fans. It's not me. I don't know where I stand on this. Maybe I'll make my decision into 2021. Of course, speaking of 2021, we'll have, of course, Birmingham preview and all that kind of jazz as we edge closer to the 2nd of Jan. We'll be back for a watch-along potentially on that one, so make sure you come back for that. And again, if you're interested in becoming the latest member of the Patreon gang, we are just one shy of my goal of 25 patrons. We're up to 24 right now, so big shout out to the D-man. You know who you are. But yes, Rovers shit. I'm not happy. Hopefully you guys are a little bit happier than I am. But right now, I just want to go to bed and forget about this one and move on to the next. And hopefully, when we wake up in a new year, it'll be a new start for Rovers. Dak's back, Brereton's back, but ultimately, we're shit. Until then, though, I'm out.